everybody? We're going to talk to you today about the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. These are actually notes in preface to a movie. Hopefully, we're going to be able to watch next week. I still have to find it, but maybe I will, and you guys will get a chance to watch a movie about the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. But before we do, we're going to go ahead and take notes on the subject. So here we go. So Warsaw is, of course, a city, capital of Poland, city of 1.3 million inhabitants. Before World War II, the city was a major center of Jewish life and culture in Poland. Pre-war Jewish population equaled 350,000. 30% of the city's total population was Jewish. The Warsaw Jewish community was the largest in both Poland and Europe. Let me move myself. Come on over here. Yes, maybe. I'll find out where the best place to go is. Let's try over here. Second largest in the world, only to New York City. So, obviously the Germans invaded on September 1st, 1939. I'm going to try over here and see how that works. None of this works. None of it works. There you go. Warsaw suffered heavy air attacks and artillery bombardments. German troops entered Warsaw on September 29th, shortly after it surrendered, and German officials ordered the establishment of a Jewish council known as the Judenrat. Adam Czerniakajew, I'm going to do my best with these Polish Jewish names, was chairman of the Jewish Council, administered the soon-to-be-established ghetto, and to implement German orders. On November 23, 1939, Warsaw's Jews had to identify themselves by wearing white armbands with the blue Star of David. German authorities closed Jewish schools, confiscated Jewish-owned property, and conscripted Jewish men into forced labor and dissolved pre-war Jewish organizations. The ghettos. On October 12, 1940, the Germans decreed the establishment of a ghetto in Warsaw. Jews were required to move into a designated area. German authorities sealed off from the rest of the city in November 1940, and the ghetto was enclosed by a wall that was over 10 feet high, topped with barbed wire, and closely guarded to prevent the movement between the ghetto and the rest of Warsaw. Now, the Jewish population increased as people moved in from nearby towns in the ghetto. Estimated to be over 400,000 Jews at one time, German authorities forced ghetto residents to live in an area of about 1.3 square miles, with an average of 7.2 persons per room. Now, the Judenrat, the Jewish council offices, were located on the Grubowska Street in the southern part of the ghetto. Jewish organizations inside the ghetto tried to meet the needs of the ghetto residents as they struggled to survive. Jewish Mutual Aid Society and Federation of Associations in Poland and for the Care of Orphans, and an organization for rehabilitation through training. Now, these organizations attempted to keep alive a population that suffered severely from starvation, exposure, infectious diseases. Financed until late 1941 primarily by the New York-based American Jewish Joint Distribution Committee, rations, food allotments were not sufficient to sustain life in the ghetto. In 1941, the average Jew in the ghetto subsisted on 1,125 calories a day. Between 1940 and mid-1942, 83,000 Jews died of starvation and disease. Now, widespread smuggling of food and medicines into the ghetto supplemented the miserable official allotments and kept the death rate from increasing still further. Now, deportations. From July 22nd until September 12th, 1942, German SS and police units carried out mass deportations from the Warsaw Ghetto to Treblinka. They used violence to force Jews to march from their homes and places of work to the Umschlagsplatz concentration point and shot those who were unable or unwilling to move. Tricked those hiding by saying they were done and they left, and those left would get food. 265,000 Jews were deported from Warsaw to Treblinka. They killed approximately 35,000 Jews inside the ghetto during the operation, beat and tortured Jews to make them move more quickly. The Judenrat in deportation. Germans demanded the Judenrat assist with the deportation. Adam Czerniakajew refused to cooperate and did not pass out the deportation order. He did not call for resistance either. Instead, Czerniakajew committed suicide on July 23, 1942, by swallowing a cyanide capsule. Now, Jewish combat organizations actually formed in the ghetto. July 28, 1942, several underground Jewish organizations joined forces and armed themselves in the Jewish Combat Organization, or ZOB. Obviously, the letters don't correlate with the English translation because it's Hebrew. Revisionist Party, Betar, Jewish Military Union, ZZW. At first, ZOB and ZZW did not get along, but they did decide to work together. Now, Organization of Resistance. By the time the uprising, ZOB had 500 and the ZZW had 250 fighters. They tried to contact the Armia Krajowa, Polish Home Army, but failed. Finally made contact in October 1942. They had started in the summer of 42. Armia gave them small weapons to help fight, mostly pistols and explosives. On January 1943, the Germans returned with intent of deporting thousands of the remaining approximately 70 to 80,000 Jews in the ghetto. They sent to forced labor camps of the government general. Jews fearing Treblinka resisted deportation. After seizing approximately 5,000 Jews, the SS and police units halted operations and withdrew. They stopped deportations on January 21st, 1943. Success? Jews were encouraged by success, began constructing subterranean bunkers and shelters, began to prepare for a fight to the end. They chose ZOB commander Mordecai Anishulewicz as their leader. On April 19, 1943, a new German force appeared outside the ghetto walls, intending to liquidate the ghetto, deport the remaining inhabitants to Lublin labor camp. Upon entering the ghetto, the streets were empty. Armed with pistols, grenades, and automatic weapons and rifles, the Jews stunned the Germans. Germans report 12 men killed or wounded. They continued to resist for weeks before the Germans ended on May 16th. Germans had to burn the ghetto. Continued to resist for weeks before the Germans ended on May 16th. Germans had to burn the ghetto buildings by building, captured and killed Anishulewicz on May 8th and at 18 Millia Street. Though Germans broke the organized resistance within days, Jews continued to fight for almost a month. To show German victory, they destroyed the Great Synagogue on May 16th, 1943. Now, German commander Stroop reported 631 bunkers destroyed, 7,000 Jews killed during the uprising, 56,000 Jews captured, approximately 42,000 were sent to Panatoia, Tarwini, and Lublin Madank. Except for a few thousand, most of these Jews were murdered in November 1943 in Operation Harvest Festival. Around 7,000 were sent to Treblinka. The remaining 2,000 were sent to smaller camps like Budzin and Krasnik. Officially ended on May 16, 1943, individual Jews continued to hide and fight for months in the ruins. As many as 20,000 Warsaw Jews continued to live in hiding on the Aryan side. Warsaw fights on. On August 1st, 1944, the Polish Home Army rose against the German occupation authorities in an effort to liberate Warsaw. Soviet forces appeared along the east bank of the Vistula River. The Soviets failed to intervene. The Germans eventually crushed the revolt and razed the center of the city to the ground in October 1944. The Germans sent thousands of captured Polish civilians to concentration camps in the Reich. 166,000 people lost their lives in the uprising. As many as 17,000 Polish Jews who had either fought with the AK or had been discovered in hiding. Soviet troops resumed their offensive on January 17, 1945. They liberated devastated Warsaw. Only about 174,000 people were left in the city, less than 6% of the pre-war population. Approximately 11,500 of the survivors were Jews. The Warsaw Uprising is the largest single revolt by Jews, inspired the uprisings in other ghettos across and in camps like Sobibor and Auschwitz. And that's it. Hopefully you guys will enjoy our video next week. Hopefully I find it. Fingers crossed. Good luck out there. Email me if you have any questions at ksiercy@spark.limestschools.org.